to everyone.
No, that's not.
At least 50% of his class has his grade or lower. He is moving towards everything race.
And the police comes and they say, well, we can't do anything.
Of course, all opinions are my own, not my employer's.
Period.
Hey everybody, it's Wednesday, so you know what Wednesday is. It's Pop and Politics. Welcome to another episode. I'm KJ, and without further ado, let me introduce you to the rest of the co-hosts. We have Yana, T, and Shelly.
Hi.
So we are missing one today. Again, we're missing Xandria. She's away, but hopefully she'll be back next week. So again, we're sending her warm thoughts and prayers. Everything's good, but she's just away. So wishing her the best, and we will see her next week. All right. So let's get into what we are discussing this week. The topics for this week are a CNN article that says Black women in the U.S. are tired. Are they, and should they be? We'll discuss it. Mm-hmm. We're also discussing mandate protests seen across the globe, but President Biden is considering making vaccine passports mandatory. We tried to make sense of it all. And lastly, we dive deeper into Mayor Scott's crime prevention plan. But is the plan layered enough for us to take a deep dive? Or will we end up hitting our head on the bottom of the pool?
Surfboard. Surfboard.
All right, so stay tuned for that. And again, as you guys always know, join the conversation by leaving a comment on our Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Also, you can follow Metro Conservative Media for more great content and notifications of new videos. Again, we are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. Again, you can find us on our website also at www.metroconservativemedia.com. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Okay, so again, we are starting our broadcast today with our Declare It a Crisis campaign. Declare It a Crisis Baltimore. We're asking you to hashtag that anytime you are highlighting or focusing on the crime in Baltimore, because we surely are. And unfortunately, it seems like our elected officials are not. So anytime you are talking about any type of crime in Baltimore, especially homicides of youth, that's what we're focusing on, homicides of youth ages for youth and young adults, ages 18 and under, please hashtag Declare It a Crisis Baltimore. We want to raise awareness about this epidemic going on in our city. All right, so we will get right into it. We were starting off with the CNN article. As I mentioned, the CNN opinion piece entitled, All the Black Women in the U.S. Are Tired. It features photos of Simone Biles, Naomi Osaka, and Sha'Carri Richardson. In the article, the author says, and I quote, "We are supposed to save relationships, families, elections, communities, democracy, and basically the world, all while exhibiting Black girl magic. But y'all mad we save ourselves. Welcome to a new day." So, T, as a Black woman, are you struggling with these expectations that are mentioned in the article?
No. Okay. I am not struggling with those expectations because I don't have those expectations of myself. I am not a superwoman. I am not a strong, independent Black woman. As a matter of fact, I don't want to be a strong, independent Black woman because that's not my place. My place is to be a weak, codependent Black woman. And I say that because who asked us to be superwomen in the first place? Nobody asked us to be these, what's the quote again? Hold on.
Yeah, you're right.
Nobody asked us to save relationships, families, elections, communities, democracy, and basically the world, all while exhibiting Black girl magic. First of all, we didn't sign up to be, well, we did sign up to be these feminists and a part of the feminist movement. we did sign up to save relationships, families, elections, because we joined the feminist movement, and we joined this toiling that we have exhibited in this, as this paragraph says. And we're tired. You should be tired from doing all of that, because it wasn't your place in the first place. You should be home, taking care of your children, nurturing your family, fixing plates for your husband, and all of the things that come with being the center of a family household. So you asked for it, and that's what you got.
Okay. So I saw you.
What do you have to say, E?
Shaking over there. I mean, do you agree with the notion of
get it together?
Wait a minute, I'm tired. I'm a tired black woman.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm tired.
You woke
Okay.
up now.
So, okay. So, I don't know about our place is to be a weak, codependent woman either. I disagree with T heartily there, number one. Number two, what I do agree with you, and I even use this about what is your superpower. And my superpower, I tell people, I have none. My superpower is knowing that I have no power over another person.
And that is a power.
So that is my power. However, I think outside of being a black woman, I think this symptom, if you will, or this sentiment that these women are expressing, I think many women, whether you're black, white, Asian, if you are a mom, a wife, you caretake for a home, and you work inside the home or outside the home, any of us can feel that. I don't think it's limited to skin color. Mm-hmm. But this idea of my place as a weak, codependent woman, I think that is pathological.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you, because Yana, I wanted to get your opinion on this, because you're a spiritual woman, religious woman, and the Bible does talk about when God created man, he created him first. He saw man was, lonely, and gave him a helpmate, being a I wouldn't even say a partner, a helpmate, somebody to keep him company. So when you think about what T said, as far as women are basically to be of service to their significant other, do you agree with that as far as biblical principles? Codependent, she said codependent.
Well,
are we supposed to depend on the opposite sex?
I do believe that we have differences as men and women, and also a woman was created out of a man, so a man is not whole without a woman. So she is there to make him whole and to make him feel secure, and obviously he repays the woman for these things that we do for them. He repays with providing her with security and protection. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think. That's how I understand that relationship with the man and the woman. About the article, what was surprising to me is that they featured the athletes, mm-hmm. and then they talked about the regular Black women. And in my mind is, well, what are the similarities between those athletes and the regular Black women? Do those athletes represent the regular people who are tired and struggling? And we do know that majority of Black women are single mothers, and they do need to take care of themselves and to look within themselves and find ways to take care of themselves. But does that really apply to those athletes? Are they in the same position as these other women who are struggling, maybe struggling with money? Mm-hmm. These athletes are not struggling with those things. Mm-hmm. So the only similarity between them is they're women and they're Black. So mm-hmm. why are they putting them together just because they're Black? They're different people. Mm-hmm.
And another thing, as far as the article goes, they wanted to mention mental health. And mm-hmm. for me personally, I think that is something that is, we have the participation trophy generation now, and everyone wants to scream, oh, I'm so depressed, oh, I have anxiety, and claim all these illnesses, mental illnesses, when there are people that struggle with those mental illnesses, but some of the times, it's not that serious. And they, just need to, they were described as being lazy, but
they represent athletes. So should we look into maybe athletes' mental health? Mm-hmm, I mean, I think that would be more honest way of looking at the issue. Are athletes struggling? Should we look into it rather than bunching them together with other Black women just based on their race? And the funny thing in the article was that they're serving as emotional support for white people.
Yeah.
What?
Well, that's something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to go, if we could dig a little deeper there, because like you mentioned, she said white people want to be allies, and we all hear that, allies, but need our help figuring out how to get there. And so that is something that's really big in social media now, where you have the left who talk about these allies. So they talk about, again, that goes to like the white fragility and teaching white people how to be not racist and
anti-racist.
Is that black people's? Is that our calling? Is that a thing?
Well, no, I don't think it should be, and I don't think it is. I think it is some trumped up media-driven paranoia, and that are ascribing to black people. Oh, this is your lot. This is what you're supposed to do. Number one. Number two, I don't understand why black people are so freaking obsessed, if you will. This is my word. Why are they obsessed with what white people think about them or don't think about them?
They don't set the standard. Right. I mean, the standard isn't what white people think or what we should be doing. We have our own standard. Everyone has their own lives that they should be living. And another thing is, I think that black people, but especially black women, have the sense of entitlement based in oppression that we should be given something or we should be, no, we have to work for everything that we have in the first place. We don't get anything. Right. It's just, the entitlement of, oh, woe is me. No, we're not oppressed. We can do it ourselves. We don't need white people to do anything for us, actually.
And I think you said, it was either you or my sister. You know how sometimes you think about you have a conversation. I can't remember if it was you or my sister I was talking to, and you said, or she said, that she doesn't feel obligated to convince white people not to be racist. She was saying, if she had no problem with somebody being racist, really. She said, as long as they do
is it really going to fix racism if you go out there and you start explaining or begging someone not to be racist? That's not going to change.
I have said many times to people, I could live next door to a KKK person. I could live next door as long as they don't burn crosses on my lawn and they don't prevent me from accessing my livelihood. Have at it.
I mean, personally, I've never experienced this, not knowingly or directly experienced racism or prejudice. I mean, it's most of the time, if you're pleasant with people, white people, gray, orange, they're pleasant back. Now, if something comes up where they need to, some straightening needs to be done, I have to straighten more black people than I do white people.
Right.
Period.
And another thing,
should know how to behave. Like they shouldn't be rude to each other or whatever.
But that's part of human nature. They're going to be rude people, and they come in all skin shapes, skin colors, shapes, sizes. They're going to be rude people. They're going to be nice people. They come in all colors as well.
One thing it did talk about as far as the athletes talked about, it mentioned they were navigating racism and sexism in order to become champions. So she mentioned Serena Williams was being compared to a gorilla. I remember that.
I remember that statement.
She also said Dawn Imus. Well, this is something separate. Dawn Imus called the 2007 Rutgers women's basketball team nappy-headed hoes.
That was vulgar.
It was.
That was vulgar.
And so they talk about how this type of stuff happens.
But those are not, what collective. It's not.
They're not representative of
a collective, right? So it's just separate incidents that happen. I mean, of course, I'm sure white people say things about black people just like black people say things about white people within our own ourselves and our own cultures. But that doesn't mean that we should project these things in public.
So let me make sure I understand. So are you all saying that you don't believe there is a case to make that African American female athletes do experience racism and sexism maybe more so than other groups? Are you saying that's not?
I don't know, because I don't know their personal experiences. Right. However, why don't we twist this around? Why can't we look at it in a positive way? Maybe we could say, wow, maybe white people look at black women as strong, as beautiful, as a sense of dignity, and that's something that they want to ascribe to be or try to achieve. Why can't we look at it that way? Why do we have to look at it from this racism, sexism prism?
And I will admit, I mean, black people are talented, and I think everyone knows that. White people, Asian, everyone knows that black people are talented, but based on the fact that, some of the things that in our culture are we see that in other
Right.
cultures, our influence in other cultures. We're talented, athletic, and artists and creativity, but that is a way to look at it. People, we have a standard and expectations that is set for us because we're great.
Now, I know you mentioned in your personal life you haven't experienced any discrimination or racism. Have you, in your personal, professional life, experienced discrimination or racism?
I've experienced sexism, if you want to, sexual harassment, sexually harassed, but I've experienced that. But I don't go to sleep at night with it plaguing my mind and weighing me down.
Well, but let me just circle back. So you have experienced that. Would you say that this is something that is prevalent in your profession, or women do experience this?
I think women
Because
in general, I think women in general
yes.
experience it. I don't think it's limited to Black athletes.
Exactly.
Well, in
Because
athletic circles.
and that's what I want to bring up, is that people should be viewed as individuals. So what is happening right now? So, okay, these women have undergone certain issues. So there's emotional issues with Simone Biles and Osaka, and the other lady was having emotional issues, and that's what brought them to leave these Olympics. So, but why do we need to put them in a group? What if this was another race, a woman from another race that was also experiencing something similar? Should we talk about her specifically? Should we either criticize her or give her sympathy based on her personally, or should we also put her, oh, it must be the Asian women that are going through this, or it must be the, so why are we doing this?
Because we live in a, especially right now, living in a very highly sensitive racial climate, and with Black Lives Matter and everything happening with that, of course they're going to point out something Black people are,
and it's almost like you can't criticize someone who is Black. Like that's how it comes off to someone maybe who disagrees with this lumping everyone in one, Black people in one group, because it sounds like, oh, well, if it's a Black woman that is having the emotional breakdown, well, we need to put her and compare her to all the other Black people who are actually
and then it's white people's
struggling. Yeah, and it's.
But let me ask you this. So, but we do have, do you all take into consideration the history here? So we are looking at, we do know, we all agree that this is a overly hypersensitive time right now with race. But you would have some people who say that because of the history of discrimination in athletics, in dance, in entertainment, it's discrimination against Black people in the United States. This article is pinpointing that and taking it even further.
The history is there, right? Black people, other groups, but Black people have been discriminated against, yes. But guess what? Out of every one of those industries that you named, there have been victories and successes that have come out of there. And Debbie Allen was a dancer, you mentioned. Other sports, other careers, the businesswoman, the one with the hair comb, I can't think of her name right now, the first Black millionaire female with the hair comb. CJ Walker, yes. So there have been instances, more than we know, that need to come out more. Not just the assaults and the injuries, but how about the victories and the successes?
And I think Black women especially have been allowed into spaces more than Black men for being more of the less intimidating, or whatever you want to call it.
And they have the privilege of being in the sport. Everybody, it feels like Black athletes are wanted for sure in the sports. So nobody is trying to push them out. We can talk about there are other athletes are struggling with their issues. Like, for example, there's an athlete from a country where I grew up that literally just asked for asylum.
I saw that.
Yeah, and she can't go back to her home country anymore, and because of the political issues there. So everybody is dealing with something, and I do not.
You would think that would have made more news,
right?
No, because she didn't come here legally. So.
Well, we have a comment we want to look at. So what is the comment?
I'll read. So Xandria says, I got my glasses. There are so many things that women call out as sexism that are in really huge advantages to women. Same with the race argument. I roll my eyes at the constant victimization narrative.
Okay. And so and when can you, so what is she, I understand the sexism part, like some women say things are sexist but it's actually a good thing. But
Well, some women are getting privileges
Yeah.
because they're
Privileges,
women.
right.
Mhm.
I
Well,
mean,
how are you getting privileges because of race?
Pretty
I
privileged.
can tell
is a
you
thing.
one how I really believe that Black women in particular are getting privileges in the corporate world because so many of us wear our hair naturally now. Years ago we couldn't get away with that. But now we can get away with the hair, natural style, the colors in our hair, where some Caucasian people, they try to color their hair, they get flack for it because it's not their quote unquote natural. But I think Black women can get away with it in this climate.
Well, and with the affirmative action or the quotas that they have to have in certain places, you can say that some people are getting the privilege because of their race.
Okay. All right. Well, please continue to comment. We enjoy those comments. So please continue. We will take a look and continue to check the comments throughout the broadcast. Again, you can join the conversation by leaving a comment on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Also follow us, our website, Metro Conservative Media. That's www.metroconservativemedia.com. For great content and notifications of new videos. Again, we are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. All right, so moving right along here, we are moving to our pop-off segment. All right, so this is a segment where I ask a question of the ladies and they basically just pop off about this question. All right, so first up today, first question. Let's talk about the eviction moratorium. It was implemented at the height of the pandemic and was intended to help stem the rising tide of COVID-19 cases. Previous moratorium by the CDC expired on July 31st, and then they just issued a new one on Tuesday for counties with high or substantial coronavirus transmission. So a majority of counties in the U.S. currently record high or substantial coronavirus transmission, but the new order will expire on October 3rd. So the question is, do you agree with extending the eviction moratorium? Why or why not? This is for you, Yana.
Wow. Okay. Well, so there's a few things. I see that this moratorium is not helping the economy. I do see that possibly this can cause a lot of issues with people who have not been paying their rent. However, another thing that I see is that there are a lot of employers that are looking for workers, and that is a crisis right now. And so I am worried about the business owners and also the landlords who have not been collecting the rent. And what are they doing? What do they supposed to do in this situation? And so I think that if we stop the moratorium, more people would be going to work right now, because right now they're living without paying the rent, and they're getting the unemployment, and they're not going back to work. So both either the employer or the landlord are not getting paid. At least one of them has to stop. Okay. So if one of them stops, more people will eventually come out and will start working.
All right. All right, moving right along. President Biden was at a Democratic event recently and quoted this: "The Republican Party today offers nothing but fear and lies and broken promises. We have to keep cutting through the Republican fog that the government isn't the problem and show that we the people are always the solution." What are your thoughts? This is for you, Shelly. 30 seconds or less.
Okay, I'm a tired Black woman. Biden is full of it. Okay, 46 is just full of it. This is just more claptrap, more talking points for 46's administration. Our government, I'm going to quote one of my, heroes, if you will. Someone I look up to, Dennis Prager. The bigger the government, the smaller the citizen. And 46 in this administration is astronomically growing our government right now, to the point where, again, people are literally landlords are going to be unemployed now, and so many other domino effects. this is a bunch of nothing but pablum, and people are buying it up. And guess what? We are suffering for it.
All right. All right. Moving right along. So on this pop off, I want to play a clip and get your reaction to this clip. This is from a podcast. It's called Future Wifey Podcast. I suggest you guys watch it. It is so good. I actually got hooked on it today. But this is a small clip, and I want to get the co-host reaction.
Honestly, the last time I had sex, I have a great body, they're super successful. Like, there were a lot of bragging rights in, like, you know, in that. But at the end of it, I was like, oh, but this feels really awful. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, there's no commitment here. There's no promise here. This person has not chosen to keep me, to cover me, to pray with me, to be there in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, for better, for worse. That has not ever come out of their mouth, which means they haven't declared it, which means for me to count on it or look for it is just an assumption, and it's an assertion that they didn't ask for because they never promised that. And so now I'm driving myself crazy, but now I'm angry at them. That's what's happening.
Do you know somebody's getting set free right now?
This was so good. That clip didn't even do it justice. I had to continue watching the whole thing today. But basically, just to give you guys a little bit quick background, she's single. She was divorced and single, and she's talking about just being in the dating game. And so she's basically saying at this point in her life, she wants a commitment from someone, from the guy, before she will basically sleep with them. So my question to you, T, is it crucial for the health of a relationship to have that commitment and to move with intention? That's another thing she said. She's moving with intention, or she's only dating guys with intention. What are your thoughts on that?
No, facts though, because here we are as adults now. I mean, we know what sex is. We know how it feels. Try something different this time around. I'm a divorced dating woman, so let's try something different this time. Let's get to know each other. Let's do a responsible thing and be accountable for our actions, and see how that goes. I mean, of course, there's a point where you get to that, but yeah, I agree with her. I mean, at least have some type of commitment. At least date for intention, so you don't. Your body count, you gotta, think about that type of stuff these days too. So let's be real, and let's be safe.
All right. Okay. So again, that is our pop off segment. Each co-host pops off for 30 seconds or so on a topic that we are talking about. If you have a pop off question that you would like one of our co-hosts to answer, please email me, kj@metroconservativemedia.com. Again, that's kj@metroconservativemedia.com, and I will be sure to ask them your question. All right. So we are moving right along to our next segment. Again, if you are watching, please continue to comment throughout the broadcast. Take a look at our social media, like, share, and subscribe to Metro Conservative Media on YouTube, Facebook. We're on Instagram and Twitter. So you can connect with us multiple ways. That way, if you subscribe, you find out when we upload videos and new content. So it's a great way to connect with us. All right. So moving right along, we're moving to our pop flop of the week. Actually, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. No, I'm sorry. We're moving to topic 2. I'm sorry. I lied. Okay.
It's coming.
It's coming. Okay. So we're moving to topic 2, which is our topic on the mask mandate.
The vaccine mandate.
The vaccine mandates across the country. All right. So we are talking about these vaccines, mask mandates, mass protests against vaccine passports in countries like France, Italy, Germany, and Australia have been going on. Biden just said he is actually considering making vaccine passports mandatory, while more and more countries are actually rioting over it. So, Yana, what is wrong with the vaccine passports? Now, some say people are dying from this vaccine, and we need people vaccinated.
You mean from COVID?
I'm sorry, from COVID. Sorry,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
People are dying from COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and we need the vaccine. Hospitals are becoming overrun, so people are saying we need vaccines mandated. What are your responses?
So, first of all, I want to say that are not against people who take the vaccine. Mm-hmm. So I'm not trying to demonize people who take the vaccine. There are people, elderly, immunocompromised, anyone who is concerned about the vaccine, that's their choice. Also, people have to kind of weigh their their dangers. So if they think that it's more dangerous for them, the COVID is more dangerous for them, then it makes sense for them to take the vaccine. But then for people that we know that most people do not die from COVID, we already learned that throughout this period
Pandemic.
since whatever this period that we've lived since 2020, that for a lot of people, it really doesn't make sense, especially when we hear of the adverse side effects and also the fact that it's not approved by the FDA. Also, it takes like 10 years for the trials to happen. So literally we are in trials right now. So people feel like, well, I'm not afraid of COVID. Why should I undergo these trials? So we see, and I think I'm not the only one who thinks that way, because we have people in France over the weekend, 200,000 people protesting. We have in Italy, 80,000. In Germany, several thousand, and 600 people arrested, and one man died in custody in Germany. We also have Australia, Britain, Israel, Switzerland, which are generally very law-abiding citizens there for the most part. So they're looking into this. It means that something is bothering them about this, and they're all chanting freedom. That's what's really interesting.
But what about, because people are saying, like in Florida, for instance, right now, cases are up, hospitals are starting to get overcrowded. There are questions about whether oxygen will continue to be be frequent, and they have enough oxygen for these patients. So it's not so much as they're saying that the COVID is still deadly, but it's just that people who are unvaccinated are filling up these hospitals.
Well, and that is another interesting point. Okay, so we just received information that 70% of people in America have received a COVID vaccine. So, and at the same time, they're saying that it's the unvaccinated that are driving this pandemic. So how does that make sense? That sounds like a lie, because if people are getting sick, who is it that is driving the pandemic? Is the vaccine really working? So it seems like their propaganda is falling apart. We have Israel that is almost 100% vaccinated. They're forcibly vaccinating people right now, and they just went on lockdown because their cases are rising. So what is going on with this vaccine? Is it really helping people? So that's another question. So I think they keep pushing for the vaccine because it's like their narrative is falling apart.
Yeah. And it's not making sense. They're saying, oh, get vaccinated and you won't get the COVID or the Delta variant. And then, but people are still dying, and the same people are still that are vaccinated are still getting COVID. So it's not making sense.
It's not making sense. And it's like they're gaslighting people. They keep saying it's the unvaccinated, or get the vaccine because you see the cases are rising. But then when you really look at it, we had that situation in Cape Cod where it was, I think, how many people were there? 27 people that were there, and like majority of them got COVID, and they were all vaccinated. There was a party, and so they all.
But let me ask you something. So, are you saying then that the hospitals are filling up with vaccinated people?
Well, if
Vaccinated
if we have
patients?
70% of people
So-
vaccinated, so who are these
So
people?
the CDC just came out, I think sometime this week, saying that yes, this new variant seems to be affecting those who have been vaccinated. Okay, but from the beginning, the CDC, the NIH, their message has been so convoluted and confusing, and now they wonder why people are hesitant or even confused themselves. So that's what we don't have. And not only that, I have been, I guess, blaming the medical establishment from almost day one, because the medical establishment, I think, dropped the ball. They should have been the industry who were educating the public, but no, this had to go political. They made it political. So now they have lost the people, the audience that needs to hear facts, right? They need these facts, and that nobody's really
They've
listening.
been suppressing so much
Right.
information. So when you suppress information, naturally, generally speaking, people want to find out more.
Right.
So I come from a communist nation that was communist for a long time, and censorship was really strong. And what was censored, that's what people wanted.
Right.
So what is the point? So when they're taking away all the information that people want to learn about, what is in these vaccines, how is this going to affect me, is it really working, like that, people have a right to learn this and make the informed decisions to take the vaccine for their health, and not because they're afraid to lose their job.
The government messed up.
And now we have the medical professionals who aren't even taking
Exactly.
the vaccinations.
There was a protest in North Carolina of medical workers, healthcare workers that do not want this vaccine.
Right.
So they know something. We have there's a protest scheduled for this coming weekend. I'm hearing that there's more protests that are going to happen
There
throughout
should be
this
more
month.
protests. There should be more protests.
Yeah.
When you, like I said, when you don't have information, there's a vacuum. It's something else is going to fill that vacuum. Go ahead.
So we shouldn't be taking the vaccine because we're afraid to either lose our jobs,
Right.
or we cannot travel, or like in Europe, you cannot even go to the grocery store.
Or go to a party. I
Right.
was just invited to a party the other day, and they said you have to be vaccinated. I'm like,
No, I mean,
Yeah.
really, I had tickets for the Lion King in New York City, and got an email as soon as De Blasio made that announcement. I checked my email about a
New
couple.
York.
Yeah, you can't go to the theater unless everyone is vaccinated. Not only that, you have to have proof of vaccination.
Yeah.
What is this proof? Okay, so this is the new poll tax, if you will. Now we have a immune or vaccination tax. So it's wrong or it's racist to have people show up with IDs to vote, right? It's wrong or discriminatory to have illegals come here and demand to see their papers.
Right.
But American citizens are being forced and coerced into showing a vaccine, a HIPAA violation of your medical personal information to access the free and the open society. Really,
Right.
I gotta say, I mean, as someone who is a rational thinker and a citizen, I'm rational. It's scary. This is a scary time.
Yeah.
And I say that because you don't know who to believe. It's like on one end you have it's no in between. It's either the vaccines is no COVID, no vaccine, it's no COVID, it's not going to kill you, or COVID is going to kill you. And it's nothing. It's like there's no
either way you're taking a
information. Right.
Yeah, there should be freedom of
that vacuum is being filled with fear, ignorance, if you will, propaganda. It's being filled. The vacuum is not going to stay empty. It's going to be filled with something. And because the institutions that we should rightly be able to trust have dropped the ball from day one, then now Americans are filling that up. And not only are we filling it up with ignorance and fear and just confusion, now we are going after each other.
There wasn't this much hoopla about the vaccinations that are required for for our children to go to school. I've always been an anti-vaxxer, but I'm definitely not going to do something. We don't know what's in it, first of all. And then secondly, what are the long-term effects of it?
And one thing that also want to mention that only 27% of Black people in America are vaccinated. So it means majority of Black people are not being vaccinated. And I think they're making a conscious decision.
Because of Tuskegee experiment.
Right.
We don't trust the government in their vaccinations.
It's an experiment. And then so all these restrictions that the government is putting on people, who is it going to affect the most? So people on the left always like to talk about the minorities and the struggle of Black people, and they're not bringing this issue up.
Again, I want to say, I go on the record, we talk about this, I'm not pro-vaccine, I'm not anti-vaccine. And there are, like you mentioned earlier, there are groups of people who may be encouraged, if you will, to really look at the vaccine because of their health status. But ultimately, it should be, it's a personal decision that they have to make. COVID is real. None of us is denying COVID is real. But again, from day one, the institutions that we should be able to trust have dropped the ball, and now they are looking for scapegoats.
Yeah, and not only if you, not to change the subject, but if you guys saw this week or like within the recent weeks, the American Medical Association is now saying no more gender on birth certificates. If this isn't politicalization, I don't know what is. I don't know what is more biological when you have a baby. You looking, you know if they have a penis or a vagina. And
did you have a boy or a girl?
Now they're saying they're removing
the American Medical Association. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
So, and we're supposed to trust these people?
That's what I said. That's what I said. So again, our institutions that were put in place to give us, independent information based on science.
So this is tyranny. I just have to say it's tyranny that people have to choose between what to put into their bodies and their livelihoods.
And it's moving at a rapid pace. It is moving so quickly, and that part is even scarier.
That's the part that makes me confused and question. Even like why are they pushing this so? What's the agenda? Why? Like what is the reason for this? And they want to say it benefits us, but I don't trust y'all like that.
It's so weird.
It is weird
because it's like weird. I mean, again, I think I've mentioned this in the past weeks. I lived through when HIV first came on the scene. I mean, I was terrified. I mean, my God, there was so much miscommunication, but you did trust your information sources. But I mean, people who got you got it, you saw the effects of it. I know people who have died of HIV, AIDS, and it was nothing like this.
Actually, it's much more difficult to catch HIV than supposedly COVID.
Right.
So we're supposed to have much more people like just dying on the street from COVID because it's so easily transmissible. But do we see that really?
And we really didn't see it in the beginning.
Give us the information. Let us make our own decisions and don't mandate anything. Like that's not even. That's
it's scary. I mean,
constitutional rights.
I was just thinking that I don't have I don't have any relatives right now in this country. All of my relatives are outside of this country currently. And what if they make it a mandate that you can't travel?
It's going to come.
That's scary.
It's going to come.
What are you supposed to never see your family again?
This is part of this leftist dream. Again, this has been in their playbook to keep Americans, reduce their freedoms, keep them in their own little state or city so that they're not traveling. And it's not going to apply to them because we see that these elites, the people who make the rules, it's not going to apply to them because they dismiss their own policies as quickly as you can blink. It's not going to apply to them. But this is a way, again, it's about power and control.
But why? What are they trying to do?
It's about power and control.
Why? But what do you get out of forcing people to take the vaccine?
Oh, many people get off on that. And I'm not saying get off like maybe you might.
Were they going to put a ball in my mouth? What do you mean?
Well,
it's a chain around my neck.
It's about power and control. Having that feeling, if you will, that psychological belief. I'm feeling that I have control over other people. Yes, that it's evil. It's sinister. But many people look. We have dictators throughout history: Mao Zedong, Joseph Stalin, Lenin. Those were dictators. They literally slaughtered people, millions of people.
Free thinkers.
They slaughtered people.
People who are free thinkers that are being suppressed. People who want to read this information, make their own decisions, who are questioning authorities, they're being suppressed. And because we are scary
The nerve of us.
to them.
Oh,
That's what I think.
Oh, okay. So you're saying
why Stalin killed millions of people? Because he was afraid.
Right.
He was terrified that
Losing
people
control.
will rise up and they will overthrow him.
The people that starved in Ukraine, I mean, millions of people, hundreds of millions of people have been slaughtered by these evil people, these evil men throughout history, just because they want the power and the control.
And they're scaring all of these people. I just had an elderly lady last week. She was like begging me, please, you and your children, please get it. Please get the vaccination. Please. You don't know. I'm like, either way, you're risking. Either way,
exactly.
I'd rather die of natural causes than to get this thing and it kills me or whatever. Either way, I'm taking a risk. But I'm risky. I'm an Aries.
I mean, at least you're taking one risk and not both of them at the same time.
Exactly. It's a risk just to live right now.
I mean, the children. Overwhelmingly, children have not been affected by this vaccine, but now the push is to get these children vaccinated. Anyone 12 and older, they want you to get these children vaccinated.
It's an experiment. It really looks like they want to see all the age groups. They want to have the data from all of these different populations of people, different demographics.
I mean, I'm literally sometimes I'm thinking like, what, in 5 years, everybody who got the vaccine is going to be like zombies?
I want to see.
Something.
I wonder what's going to happen.
I mean, what is going on? Why the push?
I mean, I do hear
Look
that
at the movies. The
it
movies
affects
haven't steered us wrong yet.
The movies what?
The movies haven't steered us wrong yet.
Oh God! We got the UFOs coming out.
Right.
Now they're pushing these vaccines. I mean, what, they trying to make a new race of people?
Who's going to be the
There's
last?
no more one race anymore.
Maybe.
I mean,
Borgs. I don't know.
And that's
I don't understand
and they want to control us thinking about this. They don't even want us to question why. Why do I need to take it?
Yeah. All right. Well, we will continue to follow this. Elizabeth Warren was in the news this week talking about autonomy over your body. Of course, she was relaying this to abortion. But it just, I'm reading this.
Yeah, even that.
Right. But I'm reading this and I'm thinking, are you serious? In one tongue of your dual tongue, your filthy tongue, you're talking about everybody get the vaccine, mandate the vaccine, and then the other time you're talking about autonomy of our body, and only if it means abortion.
When it's convenient.
Yeah.
They want to depopulate. They don't want people to reproduce.
Right.
That's all a part of the
agenda.
All right. Well,
but you won't get the ladies to pop in politics. We're smart. We see you.
We do have some comments, so let's see what people are saying.
Sherry Wood says, I would rather have the coronavirus than get jabbed. The recovery rate is very high. People getting the jab are turning up sick with the virus. I mean, there you have it. It's what you should never trust the government, Stephen says. Nope.
Okay.
That's what they want us to do.
Just trust the government.
Trust the government.
Biden said this week.
Like we have such track record of when we trusted government, what happened?
Didn't Obama say that during one of the Democratic conventions that we all belong to the government? Maybe it wasn't Obama, but we all belong to the government. We're this big, happy government family.
I mean, he wasn't so far off because, I mean, the United States of America is a corporation, but that's another story for another time. And our social security numbers are actually our numbers that, we're not going to go there today.
Well, that is something else. We definitely will explore that. And also the biblical meaning of this. I mean, I posted something about this today on my social media. The Bible does talk about, there will be a time where people can't buy and sell things unless you have some type of marking. Again, I am not saying that this vaccine is the mark of the beast.
No, because it'll be on your forehead and your right arm.
Right. But I mean, still, just it's leading up to something. I mean, you can't buy or sell something just because you don't get the vaccine. Okay, that's this, but what's next?
Right.
If they realize they can do this to us, then what more? Maybe they can make us have a mark on our forehead and a mark on our arm.
I just gotta say that it is hopeful. I feel hopeful watching these countries in Europe, people coming out and protesting, because normally they listen to the government more so than America.
I'm hopeful about those people. unfortunately, I'm not as hopeful about our own country, my own country, because this pandemic, one thing that it has enlightened me or shown me is that half of our country, at least, our fellow Americans, will easily just go along with everything and anything. And again, you may have information and decide one thing or another, but they will just go along with it just to be comfortable. Their apathy, their fear. Will keep them.
Well, I mean, I want to talk then to the audience. You know, if you feel like this mandate is against the human rights, then connect with other people who feel the same way and find where they're having their meetings, where they're having their protests, and you have to speak up.
Right.
This is the only way that they will hopefully listen to us.
Exactly. And support people who are speaking up.
Right.
If you see someone on social media talking about this being a obvious
in the front line,
right, and they're talking about how this is obviously a against our rights, support them about this. Don't just sit and watch and then DM somebody behind the scenes and say, "Girl, I agree with you."
Soldiers on the front line. Soldiers on the front line need that back line support.
Right.
Support in public.
Come out. Go in the
support
street.
in public.
Yep.
Because every time you send a DM or a message saying, "I saw it,
That's
I believe you," and didn't say anything, then you get people think you agree.
Right.
People
First
think
of all,
you agree.
and when I get those DMs too, they agree on the sideline. I think you're a coward, actually.
Ooh.
I mean, you're not impressing me by DMing us, in private. Yeah. You're a coward. Say something in public.
That's right.
And am I a conspiracy theorist?
Somewhat, I think I am to some degree, maybe to some.
Well, we all should be skeptical about question. We should question it. That's in us to question it. And
we have
then
a right
have
to
an
do that.
informed opinion.
Right.
An informed opinion. That's all we're saying. And again, we are not, one is anti-vaccine, but most of us of pop and politics are not anti-vaccine. We do support vaccinations, informed vaccinations, and of course with consent. Right. Yeah. Consent. So, moving right along.
To what? What else is there now?
Again, you can join the conversation by leaving a comment on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram. Follow us at Metro Conservative Media on all of these platforms. And subscribe. If you are watching on YouTube, just like I just mentioned, and you're loving our broadcast, subscribe. We love the support. And you get first notice of content when we upload videos and content. So
support. There's
subscribe.
A PayPal link.
Yes, we are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. All right. So moving right along, we have, and I know I mentioned this earlier. I'm so excited about it. That's why I mentioned it. Our pop flop of the week. Let's go.
Honestly, the last time I had sex, I have a great body. They're super successful. Like, there were a lot of bragging rights in.
Beginning this Saturday at 5 a.m., I will issue by mayor's order the directive that people over the age of 2 must wear a mask indoors regardless of their vaccination status.
Vested in me as mayor of Washington, D.C., which will someday be the 51st state. I now pronounce you husband and wife.
The mayor wore a mask indoors in compliance with the mandate, and the organizers and venue staff worked to create a safe environment for the staff and its guests.
She knew that by Saturday evening, by 9 p.m., that she was going to violate her own order.
Tina, sounds to me like you're saying the mayor of D.C. is lying.
We know that masks can be very effective in doing that.
It would be kind of amusing if she pushed back the date so that she could go to the Chappelle event, like a New Year's resolution that you're going to quit drinking, but not until after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, there were about 6,000 people at the Dave Chappelle show, I heard.
Yeah,
so was Mario Bowser. She was
that is exactly what we've been talking about.
Right.
How should we trust these people? And these masks obviously do not work. So if whatever cloth they want to put on a person, it's not going to help you.
Well, they said that the way that people use it, it's not. We're using them incorrectly. Yeah, especially for kids. You know, kids they're out, they're playing their stuff, and with these masks on, sweating, they take it off, put it right in their. That's right.
To have those masks because they collect bacteria, and they're breathing in the bacteria that's more dangerous for these children than the COVID itself.
Yeah. So
we're not even going to talk about Fauci.
Oh God,
let's not.
He makes me itch. You know how sometimes people get on your nerves and they just make you itch. You start itching because they're just so annoying.
Yeah,
like he
had the nerve to go off on Paul the other day. Like,
yeah, and he looked like he's wet all the time. Oh well,
he's a snake. He's slithering.
That's what
he makes me feel like he's
shedding his skin.
Yeah, he's like slimy.
He looks like a mosquito to me.
Well, we're moving right along.
I don't know what a mosquito's supposed to look like, but he looks like one.
Yeah, like a big mosquito, square
fly.
Mosquito.
Annoying,
around me. Yeah. Ooh. Well, next we are moving along to Mayor Scott. Now, Mayor Scott is actually good looking, so I was going to try to segue that, but
it depends from which angle.
He looks dry.
His afro looks dry. He needs some coconut oil in it.
I have problems with guys whose hair and nails always look better than mine. So.
Oh, you know how I don't like that.
Right, but okay.
No. I don't like a man with nice nails and feet.
I wonder if he picks it with the afro comb. You know the one with the afro? The afro pick?
Probably. Yeah. No. Don't come around me, men with no nice nails and feet. And I do not want to see you in the nail salon.
Thank you. At least not while I'm there.
No.
See, that's
I don't want to see Chang Lang holding that big 12-foot up, trying to do your feet. It's ridiculous.
Wait, who's holding the foot up?
Chang Lang.
Asian lady. No, I'm sorry. No, I mean no. Let me correct that. My nail salon, my nail person name is Chang Lang.
Okay.
See, that's
Brandon
why
Scott.
this is where women need to learn how to do these things. You don't have to. He doesn't have to go to Chang Lang or Kim Young. He can go, and his woman can do it and make sure. Because I don't like to see dirty nails and stuff on men, but at least be decent.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. I just don't want to see you in the nail salon.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, bro, I got my nails done.
Ooh.
You got burnt. What did you have for dinner?
I didn't.
At least I don't smell it.
I didn't have anything.
If you had on your mask, you wouldn't have to smell it. That is a benefit.
It wouldn't help. It wouldn't help.
That's the benefit of wearing the mask. You don't have to, smell things.
But people are using these masks and not brushing their teeth. They put the mask on and they be like, I don't brush my teeth. I'm just gonna run out.
That's a mask violation.
Yeah. And that mask smell like ass. We are talking. Let's keep on going. We are talking about Mayor Scott's violence prevention plan. The plan is really a 5-year blueprint for coordinating organizations, stakeholders to receive public funds. So, Shelly, can you talk about the stakeholders and how does this tackle crime today?
Ongoing.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm the tired Black girl. So this violence prevention plan that we talked about last week and that was revealed to Baltimore a couple of weeks ago by Mayor Brandon Scott and his administration. This plan, as we said last week, it does not deal with the immediacy of violence today. In fact, since this plan was revealed about 2 weeks ago, I think we've had at least 5 murders in Baltimore City. So it has not dealt with, it does not deal with the immediacy of crime today. What it does do is, again, it connects, it coordinates all of these stakeholders and partners and networks of, I counted so far, and I haven't even finished, 30 different networks or organizations or stakeholders or partners is what they call them. 30 different, that's only just what I just counted so far, and I haven't finished because I'm trying to understand what the acronyms are. But it puts these organizations together in this holistic, that's the word Mayor Scott likes to use, this holistic approach to combating violence. It has not, and it does not address the immediacy. Every day or almost every day, we in Baltimore City and across the country, you hear about Baltimore City. There's someone who has been murdered, brutally murdered or shot. And those are the major two crimes. There are other crimes that happen, but this plan does not address that. It's a feel good, sound good, looks good on paper program to put these organizations together to get money, taxpayer money for the most part, and some private funds, and that's it.
So now we already have a bureaucracy in Baltimore City of agencies. Actually, DPW was in the news this week for some mismanagement of funds and people getting locked up for that. But again, we have this bureaucracy of agencies that are inefficient and unaccountable. Now it sounds like he's creating a bureaucracy of stakeholders.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he created Monty.
Right.
Monty is the mayor's office of neighborhood safety and engagement. So he created this as soon as he became mayor. This was his baby, if you will. So Monty is the organization or the city organization that's charged with being the coordinator of all of these other stakeholders. So Monty, things are going to funnel or whatever issues, things, contracts are going to funnel through Monty to be disseminated to these other organizations. I still don't understand how they're going to get the people that are supposed to be recipients of these many services. And let me just give you a couple names.
Please.
One of the services, the Reentry Action Network, that is going to basically focus on criminals who are coming out of prison and maybe in the parole system, so to re-enter society. The Child Fatality Review, Victim Services Infrastructure. You have there's a 5-year BPD budget reduction. Yes, budget reduction for the Baltimore Police Department. The Group Violence Reduction Strategy, Youth Works for Jobs. These are all these organizations, and some of these are new services and new supposedly measuring tools. This is just
none about education, none about
what service.
That's what I mean.
Stops people from shooting other people.
So what it sounds to me is like an experiment. That sounds like another experiment that they're trying to put on Baltimore City in the next 5 years, and then they will analyze the data to see how whether it worked or it didn't work.
And do they ever analyze it though? I haven't seen any analysis.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
We'll see, I guess, how many murders.
I'm glad you said that because it is a 5-year plan, right? So there's a infrastructure year, which was year 1, foundation, that's what they call it, the foundational year. Year 2, which is fiscal year 23, the framing year. Then you have the securing year. Then you have the finishing year, and then the maintenance year.
What time people moved out of this city?
What year does it start?
It starts this year.
Right now.
This year starts.
Until 2021.
This is the foundational year.
This is the foundational year.
Well,
so these are
what comes in the foundational year?
That's getting everything in place. The timeline, getting everything in place.
Like a whole year.
Defining and staffing the work. Yeah, defining and staffing the work, building the infrastructure to support it, and then aligning all the agencies in the work of violence prevention. So that's what's happening right now. By year 5, which is the maintenance year or fiscal year 26, we should have all of the maintenance of all of these previously initiated items at a high level.
I don't know if you guys heard, but in the Soviet Union, they used to have 5-year plans all the time.
Yeah.
It was a buzzword over there. Like, oh, we have 5 years to achieve, a certain level of production here, and let's create more machinery in 5 years, or build a certain number of buildings. It's always 5 years.
How does that work?
So it reeks with Marxism,
very much
because it's this 5-year plan. It's a common thing. It does not work.
And it didn't take him 5 years to put together a campaign to blanket the city and get out the vote.
People need immediate support.
Right. And not on that, it gets updated biannually. I'm not saying that correctly. Every 2 years, because there's a biennial comprehensive violence prevention plan ordinance.
So is this the first 5-year plan that somebody has implemented or
this is
introduced?
Mayor Scott's sort of his hallmark. This is his, all about him.
But
before him, no. What he did do as a city council president or a representative, he was spearheaded this biennial comprehensive violence reduction plan ordinance.
That's a city
That's
council
a lot of words.
Right. So every 2 years,
So
the
many
city
words.
has to update and or submit a violence prevention plan.
Oh, he did this at city council.
Yeah,
president.
he put that in place.
And it failed because
And now this is going to be that law is now a part of this codified in this violence prevention plan. And it's every 2 years. So even in the 5 years, every 2 years it can be updated, which will ostensibly extend the 5 years out.
So people, do you see what this is?
A waste of time
and
and resources.
And
there we go.
And not only that,
Hand down.
but he is recycling some of the things he did as city council president, which didn't work.
Right.
And now he is mayor and trying to recycle these things. So again, we're recycling old ideas, nothing new. This is what you get when you continue to vote the same cronies into office.
Yep.
What have they done for you lately?
Raise taxes, continue to reduce the police, support the police shortage because we have a shortage of officers.
Right.
They
now taking money from them in this plan and taking money from
while
them.
everybody pisses on your lawn.
And I just want to say the next
They're not arresting anybody for
and
doing
call it
that.
sunshine or rain.
And then peeing on the lawn.
And they have 24/7 security.
Keisha and Dante are having sex behind the dumpster.
And they have 24/7 security on
And
your
the
dime.
rats are getting bigger.
That's ridiculous.
So I just want to say that next week we will be speaking with one of the people who has been working in the city for over 20 years with a trauma response team. He's the Dr. Humphrey. He has been working with trauma response team, and he has not heard from Mayor Scott.
Look, I have emailed my city council representatives several times. I have yet to hear from Danielle McCrae. Have yet to get an email, a reply. I'm looking into it. Not even a lie. Just total ignoring me.
And you sure you had the correct
email
email
address?
address?
I had the correct email address. Yeah.
You should pull
up. I do. Because I email, not only have I emailed her, I've emailed our delegates, our state senator, which is Corey McCrae, which happens to be her brother.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
Here we go with that again.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So we're going to look into it and we're going to investigate if his plan is actually being implemented and who he is involving in implementing this plan.
Dum dum dum.
And again, this goes back to once, and I hate to be partisan, but once the Democrats get into office, because they know that they already have our vote, you get things like this. Shelly is emailing her elected official and she is not responding because she knows that she's going to automatically get a vote and for most people in the district and get back into office.
I emailed Monsi, this organization. Monsi, you can email Shantae Jackson, who's the director. You can also email Monsi. I emailed them. That was over a week and a half ago. Not one word.
Are you sure you got the right email?
Yeah, I got it from their site.
Did it bounce back?
No, I got it from their site. I got it from the BaltimoreCity.gov site, from the Monsi site. Email Shantae Jackson, director of Monsi.
Shantae Jackson.
Well, Monsi, Fauci,
Shantae
Jackson.
It's ridiculous.
Baltimore, everyone.
Danielle,
City.
Shantae, who'd you say? Monsi, Fauci, Brandon, all of
All right, well, we will continue to follow this story. Please continue to comment on this video. Do we have any comments to check or respond to at this time?
I'm not going to say what Chris said.
Okay.
What did he say?
Oh, Mayor Scott, what's the last one?
People need to
brush their teeth and floss more and pay more attention to their dental hygiene with than the mask.
Oh, the mask. Yes, Chris.
Oh, with the mask.
Okay, we have one from
No, I'm not gonna say that.
Oh,
no more.
T back.
Oh, thanks.
No, yes, T is
I've been back. I was back last week, Christopher.
Yeah, he is always looking for T. And we will, that's one thing we want to do going forward. We're going to highlight some of our top supporters. So if you are a top supporter, please continue to comment and make sure you're subscribed, because we are going to have something special for you before the end of the summer to highlight your support. All right. So that wraps it up for us. I'm scared to say it. Did I miss something? All right. So again, thank you for watching Pop and Politics. We're where you need to be every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. presented by Metro Conservative Media. Be sure to check out our other shows, the 8:30 show live on Thursday evenings and Gray Thoughts Matter. All this and more can be found at www.metroconservativemedia.com. Thanks again so much. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Black girl magic.
Oh.